Okay, look, I'm going to show you again how this is a Kabbalistic story that has to do with the main thing that Kabbalism is all about, creation, which is via the sexual act, whether it's on this reality or a higher one. They're making a story out of energy. I don't know how to keep putting this into a way that you'll understand it. Watch what Dickhead says here.
Well, it has not been the best season for Colin Kaepernick. Perhaps not the most memorable or the most memorable, depends on how he wants to look at it. But once again, he has opened his mouth to the chagrin of many NFL fans. Now, when Colin Kaepernick took the field on Sunday to play Miami, he was met with thousands of boos after he praised Fidel Castro hours before his death and even wore a shirt adorned with the Cuban dictator's face. So once again, Colin Kaepernick having to
So there's your 9 there.
make political statements.
There's Ariel. You know who that is, right?
On the sports platform, something that...
Oh, and this bit here, the 49ers is related to a group of demons that are hanging around on the outer edge and torment people.
Statements on the sports platform, something that I'll comment on here in a little bit, but for him, I think it has turned out negatively. Now, Kiko Alonso has been said to turn his bad blood for Colin Kaepernick into a great performance. Now, Kiko...
Dolphins in depth. Bad blood, Kaepernick into the great performance. What you're seeing here is, you see this 3 here? We usually associate with Saturn, but what this is, what's being shown here. Gordon, shut up! Is the upper 3. Remember I showed you? Keter, Bina, and Chokma, which is the upper triangle. The 7 represents the lower 7. So it's the war between the upper and the lower, is what you're seeing here. And the lower is carrying the football. So it's causing the Dolphins to dive deep. But let's take a look at something here. Why would the Jews be using dolphins in Kabbalah? Another passage repeats the trope of the sea creature that shares some distinct quality of sexuality with humans. The text simply reads, the dolphinin bear fruit and multiply like the children of Adam. What are the dolphinin? They're people, little children. That's interesting, because now we're back to Pizzagate, dealing with kids of the sea, being very yama. That's where the yam comes from. It is not certain which animals are referred to here, but the word dolphinus or dolphins, presumably the source of this term in the Talmud, Jewish, meant dolphin in both Latin and Greek. The dolphins are like people in the same sense as they're reflected in their sexual and reproductive lives. The interpretation is that this means that they can actually mate with humans, while in Louis Ginberg's reinstatement of the passage, he explains that dolphins represent humankind in the water. This it's all a thing about power and recreation and destruction, because that's what a sexual fuck job is. Okay? Now, this is the upper 3. This is the lower 7. Okay? There's a game being played here, and so 7, the lower 7 are trying to overthrow the upper 3. But let's go to the next bit here. Okay, this dude that supposedly blew the whistle on Hillary Clinton, Julian Assange. This is great. Watch this.
In case he disappeared, so that they would release their entire data dump of just incredible information that dwarfs, that overshadows what we've already seen. So I'm going with the earlier directive of Julian Assange, who is going to be Person of the Year, a Man of the Year, you name it. He already is in a bunch of magazines and newspapers. And I agree, representing whistleblowers in general, whistleblowers are the men and women of the year. And
a whistleblower is also referred to as a joint blower. A joint blower is somebody that plays the skin flute. The skin flute is the how can I put it? The meat whistle. It means sucking a dick.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been looking at the pieces. Paul Watson got contacted on Monday by WikiLeaks. He had not spoken about it to the public. I brought up WikiLeaks to him, and he said, well, I've been contacted. InfoWars has been contacted. And I contacted them back, and they said, we want to give you data. Are you ready? He said, yes. Then nothing for 5 days. We finally talked about it yesterday on the radio. The listeners, and credit goes to you, began to really hammer me and say, look at this. Look, he gave an interview that aired the day before the election, but that interview was 2 weeks before. He's not been seen since late October. I went ahead yesterday and today and spent hours and hours and hours with Buckley, one of our top researchers, here going over all of the information. And it is voluminous. We're going to be filing special reports of all the documentation tomorrow on the radio/TV show, 4 to 6 p.m., Infowars.com/show for details. But don't believe me. Just search this for yourself. He came out in October. The last time we heard from him, and said, I need you to worry about my death before and after the election. I need a dead man switch. I'm being cut off. Basically implied his organization might be being infiltrated. And that's the word. Now we see evidence of it being infiltrated. And I'm going to get to that. But understand, he says a month ago, a little over a month ago, about 33 days ago. Understand, he says a month ago, a little over a month ago, about 33 days ago. A little over a month ago, about 33 days ago.
About 33 days ago. His name is Julian Assange. About 33 days ago. This is Assange. It's street lingo. To have sex with a consenting partner in the morning hours without a condom and later being accused of sexual violation, aka sex by surprise. Example, damn, this morning when we were spooning after a great night of sex, Matt Assange me. He is a terrorist and should be hunted down and assassinated. This was posted December 3rd, 2010.
Said, I need you to worry about my death before and after the election. I need a dead man switch. I'm being cut off. Basically implied his organization might be being infiltrated. He came out in October, the last time we heard from him, and said, I need you to worry about my death before and after the election. I need a dead man switch. I'm being cut off. Basically implied his organization might be being infiltrated.
So he's worried about being assassinated. This is 2016, almost 2017. This lingo came out in 2010, stating what? He's a terrorist and should be hunted down and assassinated. Julian Assange, the whistleblower, the dick sucker, right? Do you understand how they're making a story out of a sexual... it's a big fuck story. Do you understand? The fact that the slang Assange is referring to being, say, taken into a sexual copulation, and then using the slang terrorist. Do you understand what I'm saying? That dude is missing. Are you understanding how this is working? They're making a story up in conjunction about how this thing works, and because it's dealing with energy, they're using sex as the basis for the creation of the energy. It's still electrical, but that's what they're doing. So this Julian Assange, who's supposed to have all of this information, is being hunted down and is supposed to be killed for his information. Here, in the street slang, they're using it as he's a terrorist because he came and he fucked me. 33 days. What's the 33? Well, it's the in-between, isn't it? And we can figure out what the in-between is, can't we, in this case? Damn, this morning when we were spooning after a great night of sex, Matt Assange me. He is a terrorist and should be hunted down and assailed. 2010. And this is 6 years later. They just happen to be using the same name with a guy who supposedly should be hunted down and killed because he has information and he's worried about being exposed 33 days. Let's see something. Yeah, so I was exploring one other avenue. But what we, you know, I mean, come on. Give me a break, will you? This is the upper 3. This is the lower 3. There's a war going on, but it's like of a sexual nature. Julian Assange has disappeared, and they're calling him a terrorist, and he should be assassinated. In 2010, in urban street lingo, in the Urban Dictionary, Assange means to take somebody and have sex with them, kind of without their consent. And then they used the very example of what Jones' story is to explain what Assange means. There ain't no Julian Assange. Sounds to me like they're talking about forceful sex of somebody or something. I'll figure this shit out, but it ain't got nothing to do with what you think. Come on, guys. Look at the evidence. Nothing they tell us has anything to do with what we think is relative. So we have to go and find it. And that's what I'm doing.